Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you all from your respective locations or wherever you may be. It is a great pleasure for me to see so many of you here once again on the Éveil d'être Conscience platform. I would like to begin by offering my sincere apologies, especially to our friends on YouTube. We apologize for the previous video conference, during which the sound was cut off. It was not intentional and we only realized it later. My team hadn't noticed. It took us 4 hours to realize, thanks to comments, pointing out that the video had no sound. I am truly sorry from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to everyone who reported this issue. The situation is very serious. We can understand that the Istanbul talks ended in failure. For now, we can still hold on to hope. Let's say it's not a failure yet. But given the way things are going, Donald Trump has recognized that it is a failure and that the last resort will be for him to use his influence, his friendship with Putin, to sway Vladimir Putin so that the conflict can come to an end. On the 17th of May 2025, Donald Trump has come out of his silence. He announced on the social network Trust, I think it was on that platform, that he will speak with Vladimir Putin on Monday at 2 p.m. GMT. I don't know if that's 2 p.m. local time where I was. In any case, he specified the time. He said 2 p.m. Donald Trump is very upset. That is to say, he himself has realized that managing both sides is not easy, while he is trying to win over Vladimir Putin, who at the same time, the Westerners are there trying to destroy everything he is trying to build. But the man does not get discouraged. And that's why many observers are appreciating him. And even before the very first agreement was reached yesterday, that is the prisoner exchange, and the decision to agree to meet again to talk, even before that, all the parties, the leaders of the different delegations had agreed that to find a solution to this issue, Donald Trump would need to speak with Putin, or the two would have to meet in person to put an end to it. So the wish, the desire has been granted. Donald Trump has posted the information. What is the actual content of the information? That's what we are going to look at in this video conference, which I ask you to share. Share it as much as possible. Sharing the video conference gives it more visibility and makes our page much stronger. It allows others to discover our page and subscribe. So let's dive deeper. Donald Trump said, he announced in his statement that he is going to talk to Putin. He will talk to Putin to put an end to the bloodshed that is currently happening in Ukraine. What exactly did he say? He said, to end the bloodshed, I will speak with Putin. Donald Trump stated that he will talk to Putin to discuss an end to the war in Ukraine. That's why he's going to talk to Putin, so they can talk about ending it. It needs to come to an end. He says he will first talk to Putin, and then afterwards he will talk to Zelensky, because for Putin this is very serious, they're very grave. He says he will talk to Putin, then he will talk to Zelensky, and afterwards he will speak with several leaders of NATO member states. He says the topics of the call will be ending the bloodshed. That's it. He says, there you have it, that's it. He says he will make sure that in one day, he hopes that a productive day will be found so that a ceasefire can take place and this very violent war can come to an end. He says that this conflict, this fight, this very violent war that should never have happened must end. Donald Trump, he is still not happy with Joe Biden's administration. He says that they are the ones who triggered this conflict. This conflict should never happen. So he will go to any lengths. Here is the statement that Donald Trump makes. He finishes making this statement. And then the whole world is waiting to see what will happen. So Monday is going to be another very important day. To go back a bit to the content, he says, the topics of this call will be to put an end to the bloodshed that kills on average more than 5,000 Russian and Ukrainian soldiers per week. And it also kills business. He says, I hope it will be a productive day and that the ceasefire will come into effect and that this very violent war, a war that should never have happened, will come to an end. Here is the main point of his statement. So, after his statement, we have his Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, who welcomes the prisoner agreement. He still welcomes the prisoner agreement. It must be said that even though the Istanbul talks were a failure, but because what was expected is not what we saw, or that they still had the merit of reaching an agreement on the release of prisoners. That is already a big step. So Marco Rubio welcomes this agreement. The American Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, welcomed in Rome the agreement on the prisoner exchange reached in Istanbul by Ukraine and Russia, echoing President Donald Trump's call for a ceasefire. So they are still insisting on a ceasefire. He says the United States wants to achieve a lasting end to the war between Russia and Ukraine, in line with President Trump's strong message. So here is what he stated. The Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, for his part, welcomed the positive role played by the United States. He says during this discussion, Sergei Lavrov praised the positive role played by the United States in enabling the resumption of direct talks between Russia and Ukraine. So that's already a big step. The very fact that they agreed to sit at the same table. So now, all eyes are on Monday, which is the day after tomorrow. One wonders why he doesn't make the call on Sunday. Why not today? They still need to set a date for this call. But he could just pick up the phone and call him directly. In any case, until then, it will give Vladimir Putin time to prepare himself mentally. And he too will find the right words. He'll get ready. I'm talking about Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, here are today's top stories. Thank you for sharing it as much as possible. I'll be back with you later, God willing, with more news. This was the voice of your humble servant, Robert Théa.